Hey guys, welcome to Music Business Today. I'm Hannah Renee.
And I'm Kane Harrison. Hey, we're going to keep the undertone of this week, which is marketing and kind of looking after yourself and your brand. So we've got some great ideas coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to Music Business Today.
Well, first off, we're going to start by talking about kind of the risk rewards and a good approach to use when it comes to marketing and branding.
Yeah, as we said, we're going to talk about marketing and branding and some other type of developmental type things for independent artists throughout this week. And so, Hannah, kick it off.
Well, so of course everyone knows there's a lot of risk involved, especially if you sign with a large label and expect them to do all the work themselves. In this day and age, they expect things to just be handed to them. They don't expect to have to do the work. And there's a lot of risk involved with that. The statistics, I think, is 1 out of 20 artists that are signed actually end up succeeding. You know, so you have to know that you as the artist need to look at that, but then also the marketing company or the record label, they're going to be looking at that as well.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things here, and this happens in business all the time, is that what is your level of success as an artist? What do you want to achieve? And a level of success can mean a bunch of different things. It can be how many records you want to sell. It can be how many tour dates you want to do, how much money you want to have in the bank, or is your level of success, how do I balance my work life? Am I able to be an artist and still explore my creative talents but still be home for half the year? Or, you know, there's so many different aspects, but I can guarantee you that a record label is going to be more along the lines of going down the path of saying, hey, we want this person to make a lot of money, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean, pick your battles, definitely.
No, that's very true. And I mean, that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're looking at signing with a large label, or if you're wanting to go more the independent route, or even if you want to be your own boss. Maybe you already know a great team of people around you. You have someone doing marketing for you. You have someone as your manager, and you don't think it's necessarily signed to a large label, especially at this day and age.
Yeah, it is a tricky one because of the risk reward, as we say. It's like, you know, being with a big label is absolutely fantastic. And it opens so many doors. You tap into their relationships, but you still should have in your mind that you need to work just as hard. And I think that the people who succeed the most are those types of people who, and Hannah's got a bit of a list here, that can keep these sorts of things under control, even, you know, from their daily life and all that sort of stuff. There's so much business that is a part of the music industry.
Yeah, well, you know, being your own brand is essentially what you are. As an artist, as a creative, you know, people have to like you. And that's going to start down with the basics from, you know, knowing who you are, being able to interview well. Yeah. If you're an artist, people are going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to have you on tape, recorded, in front of a camera. You need to be able to sit down and have a conversation without throwing in, you need to be able to interview well in it.
Totally, because as you say, you know, we have this perception of who someone is through their music. Even by just listening to them, you automatically start to connect with who you think that they are. And one of the biggest mistakes that anyone can make is then to portray yourself as something completely different once you get there.
Not even
it's this disconnect.
Not that someone wouldn't be serious about their music that is interviewing like that, but that's how it's going to be perceived. This person clearly isn't serious. They're not who I thought they were. You know, so that's something really important, is to develop those interview skills. And I mean, we all have smartphones. Set your smartphone in front of you and just interview yourself.
Well,
you know?
I mean, as an actress, Hannah, I imagine you do a lot of this sort of stuff too. You have to hone your skills constantly.
You have to be comfortable in front of the camera.
Which means that you have to be sometimes totally uncomfortable practicing, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you do some awkward things to practice to make sure you feel comfortable.
Right, but just because, I mean, you're still a performer as an artist. You're still someone who is entertaining. So totally important and totally cool, as Hannah displays, that you can feel awkward doing it. It's not a problem.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, then also next up to that is, as an artist, you're going to be performing, you're going to be on stage. You need to develop a stage show that not only is true to you, true to who you are as an artist, but you have good stage presence, you've developed a good show, people want to watch you. There's some bands that I really enjoy around town, but I prefer them live.
Right. I mean, and it happens a lot, by the way, because that's a whole other thing we can get into, because certain mismatches with producers, certain dynamics when the album's mastered can kind of suck the life out of performance. And even camera. I mean, Hannah and I both know that the lens that you're watching us through takes 25% of your performance out. And so does, a lot of the time, recording music. It's really to be able to capture the room sound. This is why people go on about this sort of stuff, to be able to really capture who that band is.
To have that energy in the vocals.
Absolutely, and Hannah's dead right. But your performance might not be, Tanner was talking about Taylor Swift off camera, the fact that she has so many guests, you never quite know what you're going to get. It's very much almost theatrical in her performance. When she changes clothes, she's jumping out of the stage.
But even like tagging off of that, I went and saw John Mayer a few years ago over at Bridgestone Arena. He himself was great. It was fine. The show was set up well. I hated it, and I would not go see him again at Bridgestone because the venue wasn't right for him. I would have rather have seen him do 3 or 4 days sold out at Ryman Auditorium, which is a venue much more suited to his vibe of music. Than Bridgestone, which is more suited to like your Taylor Swifts and your Justin Timberlakes
and totally get that, totally understand. But then here we're talking about the amount of money that they need to make now. I mean, this is how they make their money. So they want to sell out these shows, and probably the people in the front row might have had a different experience to the people in the nosebleeds.
I wasn't in the nosebleeds.
I wasn't saying you were, Hannah, of course, but Hannah's exactly right. And just because we talk about the Taylor Swifts jumping out of the stage, changing their costume 45,000 times. I went and watched Jackson Browne a couple of weeks ago at the Ascend Amphitheatre here in town. I mean, with his acoustic guitar, they sat there, they sang all the great songs. It was exactly what I wanted to see. So that's him. If he had been changed 18 times and jumped out of the stage, it would have been, that's not what I want from you.
It would have been weird,
So being able to match your performance with, again, who you are or who you and your managing team, be that a label or be that your independent guys who are hanging around, decide who you are is super important.
Yeah, and connect with your audience.
Yeah, people don't like, in anything in marketing, they don't like that disconnect of any products. I mean, we see television commercials all the time where we go, that didn't make any sense. And that's kind of how you have to think of yourself with your music and what you're doing on stage.
You really got to connect with them. But then even beyond that, being a brand is your daily life. You have to be aware of the people that you're around, of the places you are. Someone could approach you at Starbucks and be like, hey, can I have an interview with you, because they recognize you from a show they saw 3 weeks ago, and maybe they write an independent blog online that a lot of people follow. And if you're a hot mess from partying too hard the night before, that's a huge opportunity you're missing out on right there.
Absolutely. I mean, there's very few people who can get away with being the bad girl or the bad guys. I mean, you look at Oasis and the Gallagher brothers. I mean, they did it forever. I mean, gone are the days where it used to be that you could just Slash would carry around a bottle of Jack Daniels and
people
Marlboro Reds.
Expect you to be on your toes at all points in time as an artist.
Because like we say, there is a lot of money involved and it can go away very, very quickly. And you're not only representing you, and this is the same for anything in business, the brand that you build, your brand becomes way more than you. It becomes the people who are looking after you. It becomes even your family and your friends. It definitely becomes your fans in music. And so that is something that you should definitely think about. Everyone can make mistakes, sure, no problems. But I think that now the immediacy with social media is a big issue where you just need to be really careful with how you're portraying yourself. But again, my favorite word, whether it's in business or in music, consistency. If you're consistent, Hannah, people will let you go one way or the other. You'll make a little mistake and you'll be able to come back. That's fine. But if you're portraying yourself as Miss Goody Good Two Shoes and then you turn to be, the bad girl, they're not going to let you come back. They're not. Yeah, no, that's true. And then, off of that, actually, a couple quotes from this one article I read. 2 great quotes that I think are very, very true. Kane agrees with me. For once.
For once.
No, I always agree with you.
Without great songs, there is no music business. And then also, developing a music career for the long haul is all about controlling one's own destiny.
Well, I definitely agree with the second one. The first one I don't agree with, because in the last 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, we've heard a lot of really shit songs and there's still a music business.
That's true.
So it's
But are those artists actually lasting?
Well, who knows? I mean, they are lasting enough to make great money and then to move on. Will we remember these people in years to come. I don't know that we will, but the cream will always rise to the top. That much I know for sure. Yeah. And even the big guns in town can't stop that cream from rising, because at the end of the day, it's all about the people who want to listen to the music and the performance.
That's true.
The second one we talked about branding yourself. You know,
creating your own destiny.
I think that is absolutely correct. I mean, you cannot, even if you are looking to get on a big label in town or you have a really big publishing deal, there's so many things you can't control.
Yeah.
All the things you can control, you need to control really well and be really conscious of. But you don't know what's happening in top tier management, who they're merging with, if this is going to go away, how much money they actually have, all those different things. And the way the music industry, it's so liquid at the moment, where tomorrow there could be a merger between this one and this one who says, yeah, actually we don't want that artist anymore, we don't want that songwriter anymore. So you still need to look after your own business, and I would advise that to kind of treat yourself as an independent as much as you can. And you should be on top of all these things. Your daily life, you should know how much money is going in your bank and where it's coming from and who you're paying. Even if you're not paying your own bills, you should know where your money's going.
You should be aware of that, definitely.
And keeping on the pulse of, you know, who's behind you, who's in front of you, all those different things. Just be really aware as an artist. And I think that if anything, that's what the music business has.
Well, and the way the music business is these days, you can't just rest on your laurels of, I have this talent, I can write this amazing song and I can sing it well. If you can't get on stage and perform it in front of people, no one's going to want to watch that. Like everyone, you know, especially within cities like Nashville, you know, where everyone is musically talented or knows about music in some way, they're not going to want to listen to you. They're not going to pay attention to you. They're not going to take you seriously if you can't take yourself seriously enough to actually spend that time on the business side of things and develop all aspects of who you are.
Yeah. And, you know, if you don't want to perform, as we've talked about before, there's plenty of other ways to get your music out there. With sync licensing, TV and film is a big deal. So if you are living a kind of life where, you know, you don't want it to be exposed so much to the public and kind of be stopped at the coffee shop, there's a lot of ways that you can explore your talent, still get your music out there and still make some money and have a good time. Had a great episode. I loved it.
That's just about all the time we have for today.
It is all the time we have, but as we said, we've got to keep the marketing message and the development throughout this week. But we've so enjoyed having you guys on Music Business today. Don't forget to send in some info if you want to hear about anything or learn a little bit. Maybe you know, whatever questions you have.
Tweet us.
At info@Talkapolis, you'll get us, and also via Twitter, of course. But we will see you next time on Music Business Today.